Okay, so now that we've done that exploration, now let's do some practice problems here. All right, so you may have attempted these first on your own, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to check our work. All right, so we're going to start with the first one. Notice in the first problem over here, we are given that the angles are 45, which means that this has to be 45 degrees. That would make this, by the converse of the base angle theorem, an isosceles right triangle. And I know they didn't ask for all the side lengths, but if one side is 6 of an isosceles, then the other leg is 6. And then once again, to get the hypotenuse, you simply take the leg, which is 6, and multiply it by the square root of 2. And voila, there is your x value or your hypotenuse. Okay. In the next problem, I give you the hypotenuse, and we're going to reverse the process, and we're going to divide by the square root of 2 to get the leg back. So the hypotenuse is 9 root 2, and we're going to divide that by the square root of 2. And notice that the roots cancel, and that leaves us with just 9 for both of our x values. And again, we do know that this isn't a 45, 45, 90 because the sides are equal. They're both x, which make the base angles equal, which makes both of those angles 45 degrees. Now, they didn't ask that, but you should be thinking that down the road in case we don't say, hey, this is a 45, 45, 90. Well, how did we know that? Well, the sides are equal. Same with this next one. Notice the sides are equal. So if the sides are equal, that would make this a 45-degree angle and this a 45-degree angle. Okay, so we know the relationship. If you know the leg to get the hypotenuse, we simply multiply times the square root of 2. All right, so the hypotenuse is equal to whatever the leg is times the square root of 2. And when you get 4 root 2 times the square root of 2, which is 4 times 2, and that equals 8. All right, so notice in this problem over here that the hypotenuse does not have a square root attached to the end of it. And some students seem to get the misconception that there has to be a root 2 there. That root 2 is embedded in the problem. All right, so if, don't think that you're just going to attach it. It's not a variable. It's not a unit. It's a number. And notice it is embedded in the problem. All right, so if you were to reverse this and now you wanted to find the leg, let's say, you would divide 8 by the square root of 2. Rationalizing it would end up on giving you 4 root 2. Okay. All right. So, and you can do that little test down below. You can go through it and you can test it, and we'll do it really quick just for giggles. All right. So let's just show if you take the hypotenuse and you want to reverse it, divide it by the square root of 2. Well, let's rationalize that. Multiply the top by root 2 over 2, and that simplifies down to 4 root 2. And what did you have? Reversing the process. There it is. Okay. All right, so some nice fun stuff here. All right, let's try 2 more on this side. All right, so again over here you have a 45, which means that this is a 45. So this is a 45, 45, 90. Both of the legs are equal. And then to get the hypotenuse, we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply by the root 2. So the hypotenuse is equal to 6 root 3 times the square root of 2, and you get 6 root 6 for your final answer. And again, you can always check your work. Divide that by the square root of 2. Square root of 6 divided by square root of 2, boom, equals square root of 3, and you have that 6 root 3 for the leg. Okay, and one more here. In this one, we have x and x, both of these over here are equal, all right, because I know it's a 45, 45, 90. And if you want to reverse the problem, recall the leg is equal to the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. The hypotenuse is a 6. We're going to divide that by the square root of 2. But look at that. You have a root on the bottom, so we're going to rationalize that. I'm going to do it down here. we're going to multiply the top and bottom by root 2, and you end up with 6 root 2 over 2. But is that simplified? No, that 6 divided by 2 can be simplified down to 3 root 2. And that is your x value. X is equal to 3 root 2. Go ahead and check your work. Multiply the leg by the square root of 2. Do you get 6? And sure enough, you do. All right, so what I'd like you to do right now is I want you to fill this table out, pause your video, come back, and check your work.